G'day, Sambo here. It is Saturday 5th of February 2017, mid-afternoon. I forget the exact time, I don't generally wear a watch. As most of you are probably aware, by no means am I a solar power expert. I am still learning. Every day is a school day. I am constantly pushing boundaries with my little system here, trying different things, testing things out, see what works, see what doesn't. I've got those bottom 8 panels there hooked up to the charge controller. We've had some overcast periods, a few sunny periods. I had issues earlier with heat. I've got to get some computer fans and put near the charge controller. What was happening was the volts were within limits, the amps were within limits, but the overload protection was kicking in, and the only thing I could put it down to was heat. The heatsink on the kid charge controller was up over 60 degrees Celsius. I don't know, it's up at 130, 140 Fahrenheit, something like that. Bloody hot. I've got a 240 volt desk fan under there at the moment, and it's helping. I've been running the pump most of the day, the water pump, just so I can keep a load on the system, because what I'm trying to do here is see just how much power I can produce. And because I had those issues with the heat, it's probably not as much. But what I have learned, that 2 kilowatt array there, with the current charge controller I'm using, which has got a maximum of 30 amp output at nominal 24 volts, it's actually up around 27, 28 volts when it's running. So we're looking at about 800 watts output. That's as much power as the charge controller can actually pull from that array. If I had a larger charge controller, I could probably pull more power, but I don't. And as a general rule, I don't use much power here. The only reason I'm using so much power today is because I've been running the water pump to see how much of a difference having that load on the charge controller actually makes, to see how much power I can produce, see how much is possible with that inverter. That's just a simple test, nothing scientific about it. Anyway, I'm going to keep this going for another couple of hours while we've got some sunlight. Sun's still fairly high in the sky, still got a bit of sting to it. I've probably got about 3 hours before these panels start getting shaded. So anyway, I'll leave you with some snippets from last night, and also from during the day, different things I've done, again, rather than say this at the end. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later on. It's about 9:30 AM. As you can see there, I'm getting about 675 watts at the moment going into the batteries. Got the washing machine and the water pump going at the moment. So you can see there, I think the washing machine's in the spin cycle at the moment, so we're looking at up to about 1300 watts. Pump itself draws about 600 watts. And so that's putting a bit of a load on the charge controller and allowing it to produce more power. I've got the full 2 kilowatt array hooked up. So I've got this full 2 kilowatt array hooked up at the moment. A little overcast, nothing to worry about. Alright, so the washing machine is done. I've got the laptop, satellite modem, fridge and water pump running. Getting 470 watts, only about 18 or 19 amps. You can see there we've got the overload protection kicking in, and the outer casing of the charge controller, 60 degrees Celsius. Alrighty, it's a bit after 11 AM. See there the charge controller's at float. I'll just turn the pump back on. Got a fan going on the charge controller. and the temperature's at about 40 C. 5 minutes ago, before I put the pump on, it was down to about 31 C. Alright, charge control is running a lot cooler now. It's also at float. I've got the pump running. I'm putting out over 800 watts, 30 amps. And that orange light flicking, that's the overload protection kicking in. Well, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. As you can see, it's still fairly overcast. The sun's up there. But the panels have cooled down a bit. Back of the panels is at 40 degrees Celsius, 104 Fahrenheit. The charge control is at float, and I have minimal load at the moment. So there's 1.35 amps on that string. .32 amps on that string. With 2.6 amps on the whole array. Not a whole lot. This is a 2 kilowatt array, but it is overcast. I'm about to turn the water pump on and we'll see what difference it makes. So about 6 amps. And that's because there's a load on the system. The charge controller needs more power. When there's no load, it doesn't need as much power, it's not pulling as much from the panels. So you can see there, the charge controller is still at float, 630 watts, about 23 amps going into the batteries. So far generated 2.6 kilowatt hours. And I've used 2.735 from the inverter, but as well as that, I've got the desk fan there to cool the charge controller, and that's obviously not being measured on the power usage there. Power usage so far, 3.4 kilowatt hours. Power produced, 3.4 kilowatt hours.